We got Dr. Harrington here, GUARDaHEART Foundation. We're talking heart disease, we're talking diabetes, pulse tests, and we have a new diabetic test. Tell us about the night.
Well, the diabetic test is it's a gene test, and you may hear a lot of tests out there from companies like 23andMe, where they purport to be measuring things that say that you have an increased risk of diabetes. But the difference is they're associated with a risk, but they don't actually predict the future. In this case, we have a 16-gene test that was developed at Harvard and MIT with the Broad Institute as part of the Sigma project that is a very accurate assessment of your future risk of developing diabetes. And the beauty of that means we can intervene now and prevent it from happening in the future. Because you know we have an epidemic of diabetes, and the only way we're going to stop it is to stop it early. So that's really what the test is all about.
So tell me the relationship between the pulse cardiac test and our new diabetic test. Is there any relation between the two?
There's a huge relationship. The biggest comorbidity, that famous word that means things that are associated with the heart attacks and strokes, is diabetes. And we've always looked for a way to get a better handle on it, because what we measure now is your blood sugar, and we measure hemoglobin A1C, and by the time those are abnormal, you're already there. And what we want to do is we want to catch you way back in the beginning before you ever get there, because by attacking that, we reduce your risk of heart disease too. And since it's the biggest comorbidity we see, that means that we can have a huge impact on heart disease as well as diabetes.
Has heart disease increased with children under 18 compared to 10 years ago?
Yeah, the problem is in the U.S. in particular, I like to call it the fast food nation, and junk food is just everywhere, and sugar. We're seeing things in 20 and 30-year-olds that we didn't used to see. And I blame a lot of it on sugar and sugar-containing products, carbs. You know, non-refined carbs are okay, but refined carbs like white bread, white sugar, those sorts of things are really dangerous for kids in particular.
Well, we have a giant group of people that are going vegan. And if you're particularly vegan, does that mean you're in the right planet for sugar as well?
Yeah, so look, a true plant-based diet should be healthy. But when you call yourself vegan, you also include things like these wonderful vegan donuts and vegan muffins. And they are essentially sugar, carb bombs. I don't care. So you can be really healthy as a vegan, but it depends on how you eat vegan. Just because it's called vegan doesn't mean it's healthy, right? In fact, there's some evidence that vegetarians are actually healthier than vegans because they tend to eat eggs and cheese and some dairy products, so they very rarely are deficient in the B complex vitamins like vegans tend to be.
Is the government putting enough money into the research for diabetes at this time?
So I think the government is missing the whole point of what they did. So let me just give you a little history. 40 years ago, the prevalence of diabetes was around 10%. And at that time, the guidelines for your diets was changed. It used to be you had meat and fiber and complex carbs and things like that, and sugar was at the was not very prominent. It turns out they turned it upside down and said that saturated fats and meats are bad for you, and that 40% of your calories should come from carbohydrates. Well, since that time, we now are at 40% prevalence for diabetes, and it's largely due to this very bad diet information that the governing bodies are proposing for people. In Europe, they don't believe that saturated fats cause heart disease. It's trans fats. Trans fats have been chemically altered. That's like, Crisco, those sorts of things. So I think the bottom line here is that you can eat a lot of fat and be healthy. You can eat a lot of meat and be healthy. You can eat a lot of vegetables and be healthy. But you can't eat a lot of sugar and you can't eat a lot of refined carbs and be healthy. That's the bottom line. It's all wrong. So we got to change that. And that will impact diabetes. Okay?
Dr. Harrington, thanks for your time today. Wonderful event.
Thank you.